what do you hope people get out of the event when they come to it? What do you hope they
so
leave
number
saying?
one, so last year, I keep saying last year, it was really January of this year, but it's last year for.
By the time this comes out, it'll be last year.
All right, good.
That's actually a good thing for you to know. I'll put this out. I imagine you get most of your sales towards the end, or like in bunches at the end.
It's crazy. We had 140 people there last year. I had about 40 tickets sold by December 31st, and 100 more people purchased in January, and that was January 24th.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I had people walking in, paying cash at the door or check or whatever. It was crazy.
That's how it goes with these.
Yeah.
I used to host events. I did a music festival for years in Farmingdale, and in 2019 we did our first event. We had artists from all over the world. I mean, we were hiring people, $20,000 for this artist, $15,000 for this artist.
So you know what it's like, yeah.
So it was like, and we had 600 tickets sold the day before the event, and we're freaking the fuck out. We were losing our minds. We're like, if it rains tomorrow, we're all, I don't know, we're all paying off debt from this event for the next 20 years.
Yeah.
Like, we were ready to, to phone it in. And then the day of the event was beautiful, and almost 1,000 people bought at the door.
That's great.
Like, it was like we doubled our ticket sales
Right.
at the door the day
event.
off. Just insane.
Until you do it the first time, like, it's really, like, I tell this story, but I literally had a facial twitch. I had heart palpitations just from the stress of that, like nobody's buying. It's not that nobody's buying tickets, but so few people are buying tickets.
Mm-hmm.
The event's not going to pay for itself. I'm going to be in debt. It's a heavy charge, and we sign off on it personally. Like, there was no way that I couldn't pay the venue for the event, and then all that had to come out of pocket. And thankfully, in the last 2 weeks, I kept calling the catering hall, telling them, or the venue, and telling them, more people.
Yeah, that's
and then
good.
Even
that's a good
the
problem
night
to have.
the night before the event, I went out there and I'm like, hey, can you put some more tables in here? And thankfully we put those tables in because we filled them up.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So sorry, back to the question before we went on a
So
tangent.
the main question is really to elevate leadership thinking and strategies on Long Island. We want all the attendees to walk out of there with new ways of thinking, new mindsets, new leadership mindsets, and new leadership strategies. Because there's really only two things that work. How you think, right? How you think is going to show up in how you speak, how you act, how you interact with other people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to show up in what you do, right? And so then we want habits. We don't want I don't want somebody to go out and like one time do something. I want them to build a lifelong habit of leading in a certain different, better, more effective way.
Who's this for? Like, who's going to get the most out of an event like this? Is it someone like myself who has a small team who's trying to learn how to build an effective team, or is this for anyone who's in business or,
So the person who will get the most value out of it is somebody who is an entrepreneur, has a small team, and is looking to grow, like rapid growth. They have big vision of a big, bigger, more robust, more effective, more broad spread team, and they want to develop their leadership and their team's leadership. So the best thing to do would be to bring your whole team to the event, and then everyone kind of gets this elevation and new mindset and new way of thinking and doing things, and gets the experience together. So that's ideal. However, I will say that we purposefully design Live to Lead with value for everyone. You can be a college student who aspires to be in a role of leadership someday, or you can be a 30-year veteran, business owner with multiple, serial entrepreneur and multiple multi-million-dollar businesses. Both people will walk out with tremendous value from the day. Like, the day is packed. It's packed with more than what anybody else can take home, but everybody's going to take home something. And when we asked after the event last year, everyone's like, this was amazing. I got more than I expected. It was fantastic. I can do this, that. And I got, people told me different things that they got out of value from either myself, John Maxwell, Jason Hardy, who was the other speaker, or any of the other speakers that we had there last year. Everybody grabbed something from it to take with them and make their lives better. And they networked a lot. There's a lot of great networking. Hundreds of other professionals all willing to invest in their own personal growth, which is great because you go to a free event, you get people who go to free events.
Mm-hmm.
You go to a paid event, you get people who are willing to pay. They're willing to invest. And
Yeah,
it's a
some
different-
type of
different
skin in the
mindset.
game.
They got skin in the game.
To it takes a certain type of person who's interested in, I guess, investing
Personal
in themselves
growth,
and personal
development,
growth.
leadership.
So, where does this all begin for you? How do you get into this world of leadership development and coaching?
Yeah, just for FMY for my information. Did we?
Oh yeah, we're in it.
I'm like, is this pre?
It started as pre, but then they started rolling, and I was like, this is kind of good. We'll just keep going on it.
Okay, so
Everything you've been saying has been recorded already.
all right, good. Yeah, feel free to slice and dice it.
We're gonna slice and dice everything afterwards and get you a bunch of clips to hopefully help you promote the event and
That's awesome.
get
Thank
some
you.
people in the door. So we'll drop it like 2 weeks ish before your event.
Yeah, that'll be great.
Try to
Yeah,
get that
first
last
week of
second push.
January, somewhere out there. Yep.
I was telling the same thing to Adam Holzer, who's in here last week, because he's launching his new company and
Yeah.
he's having his big event on the 9th. And I'm enjoying having people in who I've connected with over the years, who I have a long-standing relationship with, like Adam. And like I've had this podcast going for a long time where I just have people on that I like and that I want to learn from and think that others could learn from as well. But now that I have the studio space and almost a platform I'm using it to help the people that I have around me.
Right.
So it's cool that like the last 3 guests that I've had on the podcast all have events in January that I'm helping them promote.
That's great.
And it's just like a cool thing. It's like, great. I still am going to get a ton out of this conversation with you. I'm going to learn about your history and how you got into this world. And then also just like, I'm sure you're going to drop tidbits of information that I can utilize, that anyone out there can utilize. But I'm also going to be helping you, which is something that I wasn't doing prior. That is like fun for me.
It's fun, it's fulfilling, and it pays back, right? So we know that givers get, and actually there's we've always heard the expression a go-getter. That person's a real go-getter. Somebody wrote a book. I don't remember the author of the book, but it was the go-giver.
It's sitting in the other room.
There you go.
Well, I forget the author also, but that's a life-changing book.
Yeah, it's a mindset shift, right? So you change like I said before, there's your mindset and there's your habits, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you change the way you think, and when you change the way you think, you change the way you speak, you change the way you act, you change your interactions, and then you change your actions. And as you change those actions, you get different results. Better behavior gets better results.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to giving, if you think about, if we go back to farming, like the thing, we kind of lose this whole farming perspective because we don't have to farm anymore. We just go to the store and it's right there, right? But the idea of, I have to till the soil. I've got to take out the rocks. I've got to take out the weeds. I've got to plant the seed. I've got to water it. I've got to continuously take out the weeds. And I got to fight off bugs and insects and animals that want to eat the food also. And then eventually, after I put all this work into it, that's when the crop comes out. And now I get to enjoy literally the fruit of my labor.
Mm-hmm.
And we lose track of that. We sort of seem like we just want to just show up to the shop, to the grocery store and just pick up our food right there, right? But in the business world, right, you've got to invest in your business. You got to invest in your people. You got to invest in your community. You got to invest in other people. You're investing in me and in Live to Lead. And that's sowing seeds basically. And at some point in time, that's going to come back to you.
Yeah,
of course,
cultivate.
I'm super appreciative, and I'll be promoting you and your business in this podcast and your services. That's just how the system works when you sow first and try to reap.
Yeah,
after.
that's something that as a newer business owner or as a solopreneur back in 2020, 2021 when we started this company, and it was not a company, it was just me, right? It was a job for myself. That is hard you have to learn the lesson yourself. You have to go through it rather than, you have to make those mistakes.
Yeah.
You have to go out there and be like, I need to win this business. I need to win this business. So you're just trying to get enough money to put food on the table or pay the 1 or 2 freelancers or team members that you have, and you lose sight of the bigger picture,
right,
which is, like you said, sowing those seeds and cultivating those relationships over time. It's now year 4 for me in this business, and I'm starting to see the fruits of my labor over the last few years as far as relationships and just being the person. Like, I see them compounding,
Right.
like the relationships and the people that are coming to us. A lot of them are from the relationships that I've had. And, you know, oh, you got to talk to Steve. Like, even if he's not the person to help you directly through his services, he knows someone. And so that's on the marketing side that people come to us. And I had a conversation yesterday with someone who was like, hey, do I hire you or do I in-house this, you know, this media team for myself? And we walked through step by step the pros and cons of both things.
Right.
And, you know, he'll make a decision next week and we'll talk about it then. But when you're in a moment of not needing to win that business, like, I could have sat there and convinced him, no, there's no good scenario where you in-house someone. And here's the thing. But if I just am genuinely honest and try to help that person find the best solution for them, 50% of the time I'm going to be that solution, 50% of the time I'm not.
Right.
And if you're not in that like, I need to win this business mindset, but you can cultivate and sow those relationships, that's when I think the magic happens. And it
Absolutely
takes a while to learn that.
And it's not just going into it needy, but it's the long term, right? So we predicting the future is imaginary. We don't know what the future holds. So we're using our imagination, and often we predict the future as being negative. But if it's imaginary, just use our imagination to predict the future as being positive, right? So I help somebody, they don't need my services. I help them get services from somebody else. That's great. 5 years from now, they're back to me again. They're going to need my services eventually. Or maybe not. Maybe the next time I help them get somebody else. Maybe sometime they tell somebody, hey, Beauchamp's the right guy, and then that's a client for me. So it comes around anyway. Like, we can't predict the future, but if we're going to predict the future, we might as well predict that it's going to be positive. Just because the person's a no today doesn't mean they're a no forever. Mm-hmm. And that really goes for everything. It goes for an employee, goes for a relationship. Just because somebody is, I had a conversation with somebody one time, and they were 180 degrees opposite of everything I was saying. And I'm like, all right, well, whatever. Let's, it's all good. Let's reconvene next week, whatever. The following week, the person came back, and it was like they were 180 degrees. Now they're telling me everything I was telling them the previous week, and like they figured it all out on themselves, and like they weren't just opposite of that the week before. And I'm saying to myself, I'm like, does this person realize that they did this turnaround? But I just said, oh, that's great. Yeah, that's fantastic. Let's go with that. Like it was their idea. Let's just run with it. It's okay.
You incepted him.
Yeah, and it just made me think, like, just because it doesn't go right today doesn't mean it's not going to go right tomorrow, right? And so sometimes we ruin it by getting emotional. We see that it doesn't go our way, and so we start getting emotional. We're predicting the future, and we're predicting a negative future. And that negative prediction leads us to be emotional, and then when we get emotional, we push people away. And when we push people away, we damage those relationships, and we ruin the opportunity in the future.
I see it so much in sales, and I'm not immune to this problem of predicting a negative future, where it's like you're in the service industry and you're in the same boat where you're not selling a product, you're selling a service with people. So it is relationship based, and it's not as simple as just like pick up the phone and call as many people as you can to try to sell a product. It's cultivating that relationship and taking time to do so. And I talk to people all the time who are like afraid to follow up, or they're afraid they don't want to annoy the person. They don't want to, bother them. So they'll let a lead who is very, very hot slip right through their fingers. And I'm guilty of this too. It's because you feel that negative emotion of the rejection before it even happens. But at the end of the day, I've had people that I've bothered 5, 6, 7, 8 times, and on that 9th time that I reach out to them, they're like thanking me for continuing to stay in touch and not let them go. Like, they want to do this thing, it just wasn't the right time, or they had something busy going on with their family, or it was the holidays, and it almost reverses that thought in your head. Or if you can go into it, like you said, with the positive outcome in mind, it's because it's imaginary. Yeah. And thinking
the future is only imaginary. Use your imagination to envision a positive future. So let me just say 2 things about what you said. So number 1, it's super stressful when you're dealing with a real situation, a real person, a real everything, to be like, do I call them? Do I not call them? Do I email? Like, what's the right system of follow-up, right? Mm. So the strategy is to sit down when there's not a real person there and to think, okay, in general, if I was my customer, what would be the right amount of follow-up? Like, on day 1, what do I do? On day 2, what do I do? On day 7, on day 10, whatever it is, what's the right follow-up system? Write it out. And then when you're in the mix, follow your plan. Just follow the plan. If you follow the plan, it'll work. If it doesn't work, you can tweak the plan, right? But if every time you get a new prospect, you're like, oh, do I call him back? Was he kind of like, whatever, like, and then you start second guessing yourself. Mm-hmm. And you drive yourself crazy. And you're not the only one. Every single person goes through this. Salespeople all over the world, literally all over the world for the last 100 years or however many, hundreds or thousands, whatever years of people selling stuff, it's been the same situation. So come up with your plan that you believe is the right frequency of contacts and the right method of follow-up, and then just don't think about it. Just follow the plan. If it's day 3 and they get an email, on day 3, send them an email. If it's day 17 and they get a phone call them on day 17, right? Follow the script, but think about it, plan it out ahead of time. But put yourself in the prospect's shoes. Mm-hmm. The second thing I want to say is that everybody, even when they want to move forward in something, they're going to encounter these, I call them the 5 enemies of progress. So here's something that you should take notes on back there. Of course, thankfully it's recorded. This is really good content. It's 5 enemies of progress. And so as a sales professional, as a leader, you need to understand that everybody, you yourself, the members of your team, and your prospects, your family, your kids, everybody encounters these 5 enemies of progress. Okay? So these are not in any particular order. They're just the order that I remember them in, the order that I say them in. Distraction. So client wants to follow up. They want to get their podcast, their marketing services. They want to do their video. They want to do their promo, whatever kind of stuff they need. They want to do it, but something else comes up. Somebody gets sick. Bill comes in, damage, water leaks through the roof, right? Some kind of distraction in life. It could be anything. Distraction comes, it could be scrolling social media, mm-hmm. and they lose it. Number 2 is disorganization. Most people are to some degree disorganized. And when I say disorganized, it doesn't mean that they're, like everything's a disaster. I just mean that your system of organization is not robust enough to carry the weight of what it's required to do. Okay? So everybody has a system of organization. Very frequently, that system gets tested by extra weight, and the system wasn't built to carry the extra weight. And so the difference between what they're trying to carry and what they've organized themselves to carry is going to fall off the table, basically.
I call that slipping through the cracks.
Slip through the
cracks. It's we see it in our business all the time. We get a new client, we get 3 new clients, we get 5 new clients. At some point, that chain of communication breaks down and something has slipped through the cracks. Right. And so our job is to make sure that it doesn't do that, or build the right system.
Build the right system. So you're going to build a system of organization that says, okay, we currently we can manage 20 clients concurrently, mm-hmm. right? Let's build a system that can build 50, that can hold 50 clients, all doing the same work at the same time, right? If the organizational system is there, up until you get to probably around 40, the system that carries 50 will work because there's always that fluctuation, right? Mm-hmm. So you always want to build extra capacity. And I liken it to like building a shelf. If I'm going to put up a shelf on the wall, I'm like, oh yeah, I just want to put a plant on there. Not a big deal. But then you're like, oh, you know what? On second thought, let's put a whole stack of books on there. Well, I need a different shelf. I need different anchors. I need to, mm-hmm. Anchor that in more securely so it can carry that heavier weight without falling over. If I knew that in the beginning, I would have built it right from the start.
Instead of building a shelf to hold 10 pounds, you'd build a shelf to hold 50.
50 pounds, right. So that's your organizational system. So you're continuously building that organizational system because organization or lack of organization will always be an enemy of progress.
Mm-hmm. We'll come back to that. Go on to the third one.
Number 3 is procrastination. It's human nature that tomorrow always looks like a better day to get things done than today. And everybody deals with procrastination. A lot of us deal with what we call productive procrastination. I'm doing something important, but it's not the most important thing that I should be doing right now. So we do that on our teams, right? And your prospects are dealing with that as well. If I just record that video for you, Then you get to market it. Then the clients come in, and then your financial issue gets resolved to a degree. But because you didn't pull the trigger on that and we didn't provide that, now you're struggling, to pay your bills 3 months later when we could have been making progress with this content that we created for you. Mm-hmm. So that procrastination is an enemy of progress. Next is laziness. We all deal with a degree of laziness. We choose an easy route. It's just an easy, I'll sleep a little in today. I'll do something that's just easier, more fun. I was going to do that, but then somebody called me and said, hey, we're going to hang out tonight. You want to do that? So I choose the easy route, right? And the final thing is fear. Now, fear shows up in avoidance. It doesn't mean like fear, but it's just like, that's kind of uncomfortable, and I want to avoid uncomfortable things. One of the key things in growth is embracing discomfort, right? Seeking out uncomfortable stuff. That's why you see a lot of people doing, ice baths and stuff like that, because they're uncomfortable, walking on fire, facing your fears, right? That ability to overcome fear is a huge skill. So fear gets in the way because the client is either afraid of doing it. What if it fails? Or they didn't answer your call back. I said, I was supposed to get back to you last Friday. Oh, I didn't get back to you last Friday. Shoot. Now I feel guilty. Now I don't want to talk to you because I messed up. I was supposed to call you. We were supposed to meet. I ghosted you, whatever. And now there's that hesitancy to move forward because I'm just afraid of really nothing, but inside is an avoidance. I don't want to have that meeting, make that phone call, or pick up the phone or whatever because I'm embarrassed about something. So from our side as the professional, we need to battle all 5 of those enemies of progress for our prospects. If we can help those prospects win those battles, they win. They can move forward. We get a client, and
Can you give me an example of how a business owner or someone out there with a service or product can help their client battle those 5
Yeah.
What do you call them? 5 pillars, 5
enemies of progress.
Enemies of progress.
5 enemies of progress. So let's say, for example, you and I are chatting, and we're like, okay, let's follow up next week. And you say, all right, I'll call you back. We got the holidays coming up, whatever. I'll call you between Christmas and New Year's. And I go, okay, and I walk out, right? I've just sent you into enemy territory without any preparation. Like, you don't have a weapon, and the enemies are going to jump on you, and they're going to knock you out, right? So the answer is really to say, okay, you know what? How about this? Let me put you on my calendar right now. If you want to switch it, no big deal. We'll send you a reminder ahead of time. But let's put a time on the calendar right now for, the Tuesday between Christmas and New Year's. Is 2:00 in the afternoon okay? I'll call you. I'll show up. We'll go on Google Meet or whatever it is, Zoom meeting. But set it in place already. Put it on your calendar. Put it on their calendar. Now you have something that's set. It's not necessarily set in stone. If something changes, you can change it. But if you don't, it's going to be forgotten about. Distraction, disorganization, you're going to lose.
It's all like setting the follow-up.
Setting the next step, like specifically what's going to happen, or at least an opportunity for that next step to occur is really important. People get distracted so easily. Life just runs by. They're like, oh wait, didn't I talk to you last week? Oh no, that was last month. Oh, that was last quarter. I'm sure you've experienced it. I experience it all the time. Yeah. I'm like, wait, it's already like, it's December already. Like, we're almost at Christmas time.
For me, it's I'll see a text message pop up from someone, and I'll open it, and then I'll realize that the previous text message wasn't responded to, and I'm like, oh.
I've done that
myself.
Yeah.
I didn't answer this person in July, and it's December now.
Yeah. And that it happens to everybody, right?
Yeah.
So the better we can get at creating systems of organization to battle that disorganization, the more likely we're gonna win. But if we don't know that it's there, if you don't know that the enemy's going to attack you, you're not prepared, and then you lose.
So that's what I'm really interested in. Is you talked about these 5 enemies of success? Progress, sorry. I'll get it.
Okay.
By the end of this podcast.
They're an enemy of success because you need to make progress to get to success,
sure.
right?
But it's the 5 enemies of progress. I don't want to change your words here.
Yeah.
I'm interested in how to apply those things, right? Because they're all great to hear. They're all awesome to like, okay, now I'm aware of these 5 enemies of progress. But you're talking about like systems of organization. Now my mindset goes to like, all right, well, how do I build a system of organization that works for myself? How do I make sure that I'm not getting distracted? How do I make sure that I'm not procrastinating? What'd you say? Positively procrastinating?
Productive
Productively
procrastination.
procrastinating, where
Yeah.
it's like, I'm sure I do that all the time, where it's like, I
It's
really should be calling Joe, but I'm going to talk to Dan.
because it's easier.
I can do both. Like, they're both move the thing forward, but talking to Joe is definitely going to move it forward faster or in a bigger way.
Right. So that's not just procrastination, but you got a fear in there, right? I'd rather not talk to Joe. Talking to Dan and I, we have a much closer relationship. Let me call Dan instead. It'll be easier, it'll be more fun, whatever. Like so those things all, sometimes the enemy,
They overlap.
There's
multiple
they
enemies
double
in
team
there.
you. They jump on you at the same time. Yeah. So
How can we put these into practice, I guess is what I'm asking.
So the first thing I want to say is it's progress, not perfection. So what can I do to make sure this never happens again? Nothing. What can you do to make it 1% better next week than it was this week? Plenty.
Mm-hmm.
And if you keep doing little steps, step by step, you'll find that, a year from now, much less is falling through the cracks. You're not succumbing to the enemy as frequently, right? And you'll see tremendous progress. Even a 1% improvement week over week is a 68% improvement year over year. So I don't know any company that doesn't want to make a 68% year over year improvement. And it's challenging. Some companies, double, triple, they grow exponentially, but even, 20% growth year over year is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
If you keep that going for several years, you're doing great. But thinking about every little change that you can make. So in your organizational system, if you just think about the process and where might it break down. So for example, thinking about your client follow-up process, maybe sitting down with your teammates and say, okay, what have we seen? What are we experiencing? What do we think is the right method of follow-up? And then write it out, put together a plan of, if this, then that, they move through the process, which is basic marketing, right? So think of somebody moving through a funnel. If they answer my email, then they go through this route. And if they don't even open the email, then they go through this route. And if they, whatever the marketing strategy is, we're constantly moving people through this pathway so that hopefully they go from unknown to client. So thinking about that process and writing it out and then implementing it and having a checklist that people can check that they did it correctly, right? Because if you create the process and everything and there's no accountability, it's going to drift off, right? People are going to be like, oh yeah, I did that. I did that to every customer. They did it to 7 out of 10 customers, but we don't have a tracking system. We didn't track it. Okay. So creating an accountability system, everything you do, create an accountability system. So here's another tidbit. There's a 3-step process in leadership. I call this leadership unleashed. And so step 1 is always inspiration. Why is this important? Like, why should somebody buy into this to really own it? What's important to them to do what I'm asking somebody to do? Okay. So if you look at this follow-up process, or anything in leadership that you're rolling out with your team, they're going to say, okay, if we do this process, it saves us headache, it saves us frustration, and it makes us customers faster, and it gives us an opportunity to service more people sooner, which helps them make more money, right? Because the better job that you do serving your customers, the more money they make. That's why you exist, right? So, so you're serving your higher purpose and creating businesses that are more sustainable. So that's the why. That's going to help inspire them to be like, okay, let's do something about it. But then you need to equip them. You need to actually have a strategy in place. They need to know, okay, now that I'm motivated to do this, I'm inspired, I'm going to do it. What do I do? Like, how do I actually run this out? Okay, well, this is the process you're going to run out. So there's step 1 is inspiration. Step 2 is equipping. And then step 3 is accountability. Human nature is to drift. When left unaccountable, we will all drift off of the best plans that we were super inspired. We love to do it. We want to do it. I absolutely want to do it. I didn't do it, right? I forgot about it. It got inconvenient. Something else got in the way. 5 enemies of progress.
5 enemies of progress.
Right? So think about gym habit, right? So every one of us goes, yeah, I should probably get to the gym more. I know very few people who are like, no, I go to the gym exactly as frequently as I want to go. Okay. But it drifts. If we don't have an accountability system, 5 days a week goes to 3 days a week, goes to 1 day a week, goes to once a month, goes to once every 6 months. It goes to, whatever. So there's got to be an accountability system, and the accountability doesn't look like you didn't do it. Slap on the hand, right? It's hey, we intended to do this. Here's the strategy. What got in the way? I'm your partner in your success. How can we work together to help you to be successful? Here's the 5 enemies of progress. Which one jumped on you, and how do we overcome that next time? And if you just think progress, not perfection, okay, so last month you did 7 out of 10 clients according to the process. Let's go for 8. Then let's go for 9. Now let's go for 10. So if people are making progress, even if it, like you're like, oh shoot, you let 2 of them go. Okay, but you let 3 of them go the previous month. So let's, we're making progress. That's the coaching part of the accountability. But if you're not measuring it, nobody knows, and then you can't figure out what got in the way, and then you can't figure out how to solve it. There's a lot of good information right there.
I mean,
good coaching information.
I'm sitting here, I'm getting free coaching right now. Yeah. It's awesome. Because you're talking directly to me and my problems.
It literally everybody.
It's
you're not alone.
problems.
You're not alone. It's, and I see this all the time. I'm talking to people and they're like, I must be the only one dealing with this. No, you're not. Everybody deals with this. Every one of us, I don't care if you're a multi-billion-dollar business owner, we're all muddling our way through. Nobody has it all down pat. If they think they do, they're arrogant. Right? Nobody has it all down pat. We're all like stumbling our way through progress. Progress is, think the stock market, right? Overall, it's up, but on any given day, it could be up or down. And that's our life as an entrepreneur. That's business. That's life. There's ups and there's downs. We think that it's going to be win, 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 right? But it's win, win, loss, win, loss, loss, win, 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 loss, loss, So welcome.
Yeah. I think this is a great time now, 35-ish minutes into this conversation to introduce who you are and your expertise. And I would like for you to not be humble in this scenario. People, I often say like, oh, what do you give me a little background on what you do. And then they go like, yeah, I make films. And then when I sit down with that person and ask them, oh, like what films do you make? Oh, well, I worked on this, Steven Spielberg film. Yeah. It's like, for anyone out there, like why should they be listening to you and who are you and what do you do, I guess?
Okay. So humility is one of my core values that I strive to be more humble, because arrogance is a challenge.
So I don't mean it in an arrogant way, like I'm the fucking best and you got to work with me like because I'll take your business from the shitter to multi-million dollars.
It will happen. That's not overnight, but absolutely. So the strategies work, right? Somebody said my best thinking has been done by other people. My best ideas and my best thoughts have really come from learning from other people. A lot of learning from clients and a lot of learning from books, seminars, training, education, et cetera. So,
well, similar to everyone has the same problems. I'm a believer that very rarely do we have a new idea or a new thing. It's just how can you take that information and package it up. Like I'm not the first person to ever open a studio or run a media company before.
Right.
And none of the concepts that we have are extremely novel to us.
Right.
But we package them up and we make them simple and actionable for people so that when they come to us, we're the best option for them.
Right.
Same thing with what it is you're talking about here. It's like if you think you have the perfect idea that no one else has ever thought of, you're either Elon Musk or you're full shit.
Yeah. Let's go with choice B, exactly. Yeah. So the majority of almost the entire population is delusional, right? So everybody that is a baseline, and it's okay. Listen, I love you. I love everybody here.
Oh, I'm delusional.
But we're all delusional. It's how we live, right? We're like, so let's start with this. So back in 1995 is when I start my leadership journey, right? Okay. So I'm not 30-something years old. I wish I was still, but I'm not. I'm 54.
You look like you're 30-something years old.
Thank you.
You're in great shape.
It's the filters on the cameras.
We get the good glass on the cameras.
Yeah, make sure you filter out some of those wrinkles. So 1995, I'm 24 years old, and I start working at this major corporation in leadership, and everybody on my team was in the company before I was born, save one person. One person started when I was like 1 year old. So I had to lead with respect, with good ideas, with enrolling people into new ways of thinking, and really just valuing everything that everybody said. I didn't know anything. I had to be humble. I had no choice. There was nothing to be arrogant about. Mm-hmm. People did work that I'm trying to lead people to do work that they've been doing literally my entire life. And so we changed systems, we changed offices, we changed computer systems. I mean, think about anybody who knows 1995, like there was a Windows 1995 before like Windows 11 kind of thing came out. And so it was like even Windows were new, internet was new, websites were new, like everything was new. And we're changing from old screens that were like monochrome screens to these new screens with Windows 95 on them and stuff. And everything was just new and changing. And I'm trying to lead the team through that. And the other manager that I was supposed to be tag teaming with had a heart attack right in the beginning of that. And so he was out. So here I am by myself. So it was really trial by fire. After doing that job and several other jobs at that corporation for a long time, I decided, you know what, I can help other leaders to grow their leadership skills and to really become more effective in leadership. And so I took an early retirement package from that company and I launched a seminar. And that seminar, I fell on my face. This is like 2004. And I had 3 people attend, and I was one of them. It was me, a friend of mine, and one person who heard the advertising who showed up. So that was my first taste of a business leadership conference.
Okay.
And so I ended up having to get rid of the business because I had little kids, bills, et cetera, and I needed a steady job. I listened to the voice. You're an entrepreneur. All of those that are entrepreneurs listening out there, everyone hears that voice. Why don't you just go get a real job? Why don't you just work for somebody else? Just have a steady income. Have somebody else just pay you just a regular check that you just get every week. You know what you're going to get. So I listened to that voice. I got a job. I got certified as a high school teacher, and I started teaching high school. Now, this brings us into like 2008 when there was a recession, and almost all schools were laying off their teachers, and so it was real tough to find a job. And so I was a teacher at 15 different school districts in 14 years. So from 2000, and I started teaching in 2006, and in 2019 was my last teaching job. That's when I found the Maxwell Leadership Team. So Maxwell Leadership, under John Maxwell, has everything that I needed before: the background, the mentoring, the process, the courses. There's just so much content that they give us, everything that you need to be successful, and the flexibility to mix and match, add, subtract, do whatever you want to do. So I'm licensed to use his material, and I'm able to do whatever I want to do. It's not like I have to do exactly this is in the box, do it out of the box. Mm-hmm. So that gave me this platform to really relaunch this mission that I believe I had from way back when, that I tried to do the first time, that I failed miserably. So round 2, 2019, right before COVID, launch Beauchamp Team Growth Solutions and start getting clients, start networking right away. I got certified in August. My business was started by November. And started getting clients. And then every one of those clients closed their doors with COVID. So I started giving away my services for free, nonprofit organizations. I would ask people to say, hey, listen, you got somebody in your family who needs coaching, just send them to me. I'll coach them for free. I need to be on my game so that when things open up again, I'm ready to go back in and do it. I don't want to be going back and saying, oh, what was I supposed to do? So January 2021, I started to get new paying clients that were good and sustainable. And so and the business has been growing since then.
Awesome. What exactly do you offer through this system and the coaching that you do?
Awesome. So businesses want to grow. Growth is challenging. Most business owners have invested their time, energy, and effort in being good at what they do, right? So I would hope and expect, I honestly believe that you are an expert in things marketing, video, podcasts, your equipment here. People can't see the equipment that you got here, but it's all like top-notch equipment, right? So That's very impressive. So you're invested in that. Did you spend time investing in being a business leader? Did you invest time in leading people, communication skills, organizational skills? all the skill sets that you need to run a growing company. So what most people encounter is that their leadership level that they've gained just kind of randomly over their course of their life, at some point in time, their company grows to that limit, and it's now bouncing off of that leadership level of that business owner. So I come in, we assess, what do you need to grow, and we fill in those skills, the mindset, the skill set, the strategies, the ideas. You don't have to bump your head like the 100 other people did. You know what I'm saying? Because I've seen it all. I shouldn't say I've seen it all. I've seen a lot.
Seen a lot.
Seen a lot. Seen a lot of what people have to go through. So I can be like, hey, when you get to this point, you got to duck because you're going to bump your head. Oh, okay. And as long as you duck, you don't bump your head. So I help people grow their businesses through, sometimes it's strategy. Sometimes it's literally math. People are like, I want to do this. I'm like, okay, well, that breaks down into this much per month. How much can you get done this month? This. And we just mathematically figure out their plan, and we figure out people, strategy, marketing, sales, whatever. I work with teams. I'm like, how many clients are you going to close on this month? My goal is 10. I said, okay, your rate of closing is this rate. If you divide that out, you need to see 7 clients a day. Are you seeing 7 prospects a day? Are you seeing 7 prospects a day? No, that's a lot of prospects. Well, then your math doesn't match. You're trying to use magic, right? Magic doesn't work. I don't mean to break it to anybody in the audience here, but there's no such thing as magic. What? But people want to use that. I predict I'm going to get 10 closed deals this month. But when I do the math, it requires me to have 7 to meet with 7 people every single day, and I don't have a means to get 7 people every day. So I'm not going to get my 10 at the end of the month. So we can work on. If you can't work on quantity, you have to work on quality. Ideally, you work on both quantity and quality. How can I get in front of more people? How can I get a better quality interaction with a better quality audience that I can convert them more to new sales?
It's interesting. One of the things that we talk about a lot with in our business and in the content field, like organic content marketing, is that there is a quality that comes from quantity, right? There's a quality that comes from doing a lot quickly to learn faster.
Take action quickly. Absolutely.
We talk about, I'm a big baseball fan, so I use at bats all the time. It's right. You're saying if your close rate is, we'll say 30%, which is a great close rate.
Great. Any salesperson will love a 30% close rate.
That would make you a Hall of Famer in baseball. If you succeed 3 out of 10 times, it means you're failing 7 out of 10, and you end up in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
We use content as the example. If you're posting 10 posts a month, your rate of learning versus someone who posts 100 posts a month is 1/10. So it's going to take you 10 months to learn what that person learned in 1 month.
Right.
And if you take more at bats and you actually observe and take lessons from what you're doing, as opposed to just swinging wildly with no method to your madness, then you will end up learning better, and the quality comes from the quantity.
Yep, absolutely. So in the beginning, everything's going to be a mess anyway. So just go out and fail, just like anything. Nobody starts. Learn faster. Just jump in. There's no sense in waiting for perfection, or okay, well, I'm just one couple more. Let's wait till the perfect time. No, just jump in now, get started, get moving, stumble, bump your head, stub a toe. Like, you're gonna stumble your way through it. That stumbling period. If you start a year from now, you'll be stumbling then. But if you start now, a year from now, you'll be so much better. So just start now. It's going to be a stumble. Don't be afraid of the stumble. Embracing the discomfort.
I had a really impressive young entrepreneur sit in that seat 2 weeks ago. He's 26 years old. He's now going on to his 3rd business that's in the same ecosystem of businesses that he's built. So they all work hand in hand and feed each other. It's really, really remarkable what he's built in such a short period of time. And he was talking about how people have ideas, right? His new business is a print shop. He's going to do clothing and like embossing and all these really incredible things that he couldn't find from a local print shop. So he's like, I'm going to do it myself. Yep. Everyone keeps telling me no. I don't believe them. I'm going to do it. And the reason that he built it was he got the no. He is setting up like a ecosystem that feeds itself. And it's just like it's crazy to watch it from the outside and see where, like, all the different lessons that you can learn from it.
Yeah. We know that in business, people who take action quickly make progress.
That's where I was going with it. I lost it completely. You saw it in my eyes that I lost the thought. It was he had this idea for the print shop, and he said to me, somebody else out there has an idea for this print shop that, hey, they couldn't find someone to do the embossing for them, so they're like, I want to do it myself. But he has taken action before that person has even put anything into motion. And that person is trying to create the perfect plan that might take them a year to put into action. But in that year, he's failed with business number 1, failed with business number 2, and now the third iteration of the business is working. Right. In a year, when that person finally has their perfect plan and starts, they're still going to fail at business number 1. They're still going to fail at business number 2. And it's going to take them 3 times as long to get to that third business if they ever get there.
Right.
Then he's already there at the end of year 1.
Because he took action quickly. Yeah. So those 5 enemies of progress are always going to be there, right? So there's 8.5 or probably close to 9 billion people on Earth. There's no idea that we have that somebody else hasn't already had. Mm-hmm. The reality is just, am I going to overcome those 5 enemies of progress first, right? Am I going to not get distracted and be disorganized and procrastinate and be lazy and be fearful? And if I can overcome those 5 enemies of progress and make progress consistently and take action quickly, I'm the first one to market with the idea. It looks like I'm the genius. Meanwhile, I'm not. I had an idea that 1,000 other people had the exact same idea, but they're sitting on it because they're afraid that they procrastinated or whatever.
I don't know who it's from, but someone said, like, there's someone a lot stupider out there in your same business making a lot more money than you.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, that's the truth.
Because they're biased towards action. They do it.
They're biased towards action. That's 100% correctly. It's not about IQ, right? There's a whole skill set that has nothing to do with intelligence level. Mm-hmm. It's really, and I've seen people. I'm like, you can't do that. Like that's not even legal. And they just do it. I'm like, all right. And their businesses, they grow. Eventually, they figure out the whole legal thing, But they just start things off, And I'm a person who analyzes. I'm very analytical, which works, but I have to take action. And if I'm too busy thinking about, okay, let's make it perfect round 1, it doesn't get started. Mm-hmm. So I know after 30 years of professional world, get an idea, start acting on it, start moving forward. You're going to stumble anyway. So get the stumbling done now, not a year from now.
For someone who's thinking about going to your event and maybe hasn't decided to take that action,
take action.
Why should they? Why should they go?
All right. So the event is Live to Lead. It's coming on January 23rd. It'll be at the Hyatt Regency Hotel. It's a full day leadership conference. It's more than a conference. It's an experience. You're not going to just be sitting there listening to speakers all day. You're going to be interacting with other people. You're going to be forced to think and actually take action right there on the spot. It's a great event. Why should somebody go? If anybody wants to start off 2026 more powerfully with a better mindset and to feel that energy of the room of the speakers and the just the environment that we create there, and come up with strategies that'll work, even some of the strategies that we talked about today, hopefully people are watching this podcast and take notes and put this to use. It can really change the trajectory of their life. Even if somebody just thinks, hey, take action quicker, and they can act 10% quicker than they did before, that's going to make a huge difference on the trajectory of everything that's happening from this point forward. So everybody walks out of Live to Lead with some kind of nugget of valuable truth that they can apply to their life right then and there.
I certainly have. The second you leave, I'm making a phone call that I didn't make yesterday because I didn't want to.
Take action quickly. Fear is not real, right? So many times we avoid stuff because we think, oh, this is not going to go well, right? But that's imaginary. It's only my imagination telling me it's not going to go well. Switch the script. Hey, if my imagination can tell me what's going to happen next, it's going to be positive. They're going to say yes. They're going to agree. They're going to be happy that I called them. Why not?
I love that. Is there anything that you wish I asked you that I didn't?
Um, I don't know. You didn't ask me anything personal.
What about your? Talk to me
I
about
don't,
the personal
I
life.
don't even know. I have a dog. No, I don't even have a dog. So, but
How does that does your personal life drive you in any way professionally? Is it a major priority for you being a business owner and a father and having all these different conflicting things? I mean, it's something that I'm learning as a new father is how to. I use as an audio guy. I use faders as an example of like you have all these different pillars of your life, and at certain times, like the business
one's
fader
gonna
is going
go
to be
up.
all the
Yeah.
way up, but that means the family fader is going down. How do you find the harmony between those?
Yeah. So my kids are all adults now. So that kind of makes it easier. I'm not changing diapers or taking kids to sporting events and stuff like that. There was a period of time that, it was like air traffic controllers needed to control picking up and dropping off 4 kids from soccer, scouts, youth group, and,
Yeah, you're outnumbered.
other things. It was a crazy system, phone calls and, hey, I'm dropping this kid off here. Can you pick him up? And all this other stuff. Um, so I think, to really know me is to really understand that, I love my family. I love my kids. My oldest son, Alexander, passed away in 2016. That was a huge, obviously crushing, tragic event in all of our lives. We're still dealing with, the pain and the trauma from that event, and it affected me terribly.
Obviously, yeah.
And my journey digging out of my deep depression and emotional, like lack of emotional health or well-being or lack of emotional strategies has really helped me to see the world completely differently. And I see so much. There's so many people who are traumatized by something. It doesn't matter what it is. Your parents got divorced. That's over 50% of the population. That's trauma. That's traumatic, right? Not you're getting divorced, but people get divorced, right? So it's either your parents got divorced, or you yourself are getting divorced, or somebody in your family died, or somebody's sick, somebody's going through cancer. People themselves are going through, diseases and stuff like that. Life is hard, and if we ignore that whole emotional aspect of life, it's like playing a game and not knowing some of the rules. It's out there. Our people are hurting, whether it be a customer, an employee, our boss, our spouse, and really to know how to interact with people in a way that's healthy for ourselves and healthy for other people. So I think that's probably one of the biggest things that I help people train on is that emotion. I call it emotional fitness. Right? Just like physical fitness, if I know a good strategy and I do that exercise on a consistent basis, I become more physically fit. If I know a good emotional strategy and I practice that emotional strategy on a consistent basis, I become more emotionally fit.
On the emotional side, I think a lot of times, myself included, you don't know why you're feeling the way that you're feeling, or you don't know that the way that you're feeling is affecting the things around you, or like the actions that you're taking.
Absolutely.
You talk about fear being one of
Yep.
those things that paralyzes you, and I definitely am guilty of that, or that emotion hits me, where I get that outcome. How do you even become aware of the emotional aspect of things when sometimes you're blind to it because you're in it?
Most people are blind to it, and it takes starting from a point of the most calm and peaceful state that somebody could be in, which could still be enraged or angry or frustrated or irritated. That people are experiencing negative emotions and they stay kind of at this elevated traumatic state of trigger.
Yeah, their baseline is just
Their baseline
higher.
is higher, yeah. And so let's say my baseline was here. When my son passed away, it was here, and my breaking point was like right here.
Mm-hmm.
So I existed. My baseline day-to-day operation was a hair away from breaking, and so I would regularly break and just either get enraged and just flip out on people, or just break down crying, and learning the strategies to take that baseline emotional state and lower it was healthy for me. And I've come to realize that even prior to that, my baseline was still elevated, right? My average day to day was higher than my average day to day now. Like I know how to manage my emotion level to be at a more calm, more peaceful emotional state, and not like I pretty much existed in a semi-triggered state.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people are existing in this semi-triggered state. They're not aware of it. So in their most calm baseline state is when you can start to make some amount of progress. And like I said, it's not perfection, it's progress. So if we can start helping people to develop strategies to calm down their emotional state, to be more calm and peaceful, that allows them to gain more awareness and then implement more strategies. The higher you are in that emotional triggered state, the less ability you're going to have to manage it. And probably most of us anybody who's ever like gotten really irritated and like flipped out, you know that at that point of, or seen somebody who's experiencing that, when somebody's in that point of real rage, it's hard for them to calm down, right? Nobody's going to go, oh, you're right, and then be fine. Like the heart rate is still up.
Hey, calm down. It's like,
oh, yeah, calm down. Right.
My wife's upset. Tell her, oh, you know what? Just relax. It's
relax.
like,
if you just relax. So, and that's true. But if you can say that to yourself, you can say, okay, if I can say to myself, I need to relax. I need to just breathe. I need to calm this down. Then I can actually implement that. If you say to me, Joe, you need to calm down, probably
you're gonna be like, fuck you, Steve. Shut up.
I would hope that depending on how bad it was, I would hope that I would say, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
It might not be helpful, but that's only because I'm aware. Rewind time
Yeah.
a few years ago, I probably would have
Bite my head off.
Yeah, probably physically threatened you. So thankfully I've grown at 50 something years old. So
any time is better than
better
never.
than never. You're right. You're 100% right. So there's a man, he's like in his 80s and his wife passes away and he's super angry. He's like, and he's been married for like 50 something years.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, she was such a good woman and she did all this stuff for me. And, why did she have to die? Like, it's like, why don't you just be thankful that you had this wonderful wife for all these years?
Yeah.
Why are you so angry that she's gone now? Like, I understand you're hurt, you're heartbroken, but you shouldn't be angry. Like God took this person away from you. Don't you think that was a gift of having that person in your life for, 60, 50, whatever, something years?
Shift towards gratitude.
Shift towards gratitude, which
but
is huge.
Obviously in the moment, that's a difficult thing. I mean, you can talk to it from personal experience with your son. It took you years probably to lower that baseline from that like moment of breaking.
I would say a year to give me some space where I wasn't just flipping out on people that were close to me. And it took, therapy and counseling and group sessions and anger management and listening to audiobooks. Listening to audiobooks was a huge, if I can get everybody into the habit of listening to audiobooks, that's like one of my life missions. There's so much useful information out there. For me, the audiobooks made a tremendous life change because I could listen to them for hours every day. So it was like getting therapy. Like I'd go to the therapist and then we're in the middle of something and they're like, so the hour's up and we have our next client coming in. So we'll see you next Thursday.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not done, but I am. Mm-hmm. But on the audiobook, I can just listen. I can listen while I drive. I listen while I was in the shower. I listen while I'm doing laundry. I listen while I'm cleaning the house. I listen, whatever I'm doing, I'm listening. Or at that time, I would just stop whatever I was doing and just listen to the audiobook because I'm like, I need help right now. And this is here right now. I just have to hit the button on my phone and boom, it's playing. And I'm getting my own personal therapy session and I can switch whatever content I want. I get a book on anger. I get a book on trauma. I get a book on managing emotional health, emotional fitness, emotional intelligence, right? So it was all there on audiobook.
It takes a specific type of person to want to seek out that information, though. I think it's either you get thrown into it because of a traumatic event or you have to be the type of person who's constantly seeking for improvement to even go for those things. I would imagine that a large percentage of the population isn't interested in becoming better, and whatever better means, right, or improvement.
So there's a disconnect. There's a huge disconnect, and I think Dilbert wrote a cartoon. It's like, how many people here want things to be better? Everyone's like, yes, everybody wants everything to be better. If you ask the average person, what is your income level, and what would you like your income level to be? Almost everybody picks double their income. Mm-hmm. So if you ask somebody making $20,000, they're like, oh, I'd be doing great if I could just make $40,000 a year. You ask somebody making $100,000 a year, they're like, I'd actually really like $200,000 a year. Somebody else is their fantasy is 40 and yours is 200. But if you ask somebody $1 million, they're like, yeah, 2 million would really be better.
Mm-hmm.
So we all want better. We want more. But then you say, the same Dilbert cartoons, like, and who wants to change? And nobody raised their hand, right? So I want my environment to change. I just don't want to change myself. I can't change the environment, but I can change myself. And I find out that if I change myself, it does influence the environment. So the best advice that I ever got that I couldn't take probably for a good 30 years was somebody said to me, it's like, Joe, it's all your fault. And I'm like, that's impossible. What do you mean it's all my fault? Don't you see all these other things that other people are doing? And I couldn't take it in. And finally, I'm like, it is all my fault.
Mm-hmm.
But that's good news because now I know I could fix it. All I got to do is fix me. It's hard enough to fix me, but it's really impossible to fix somebody else. So
That's for sure.
If I just start with me, I can make progress. I can fix me. And then at least that part of it gets better.
One last shout out for the event. When, where, and how can people get in touch with you to either ask questions or to work with you directly?
Absolutely. So Live to Lead Long Island is on Friday, January 23rd. It's going to be at the Hyatt Regency Hotel. It's from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's a full day event. You get breakfast, lunch, and happy hour included in there. And all kinds of great content. You'll be inspired. You'll be equipped with good strategies to go out and execute. There's a website, live, the number 2, L-I-V-E, the number 2, L-E-A-D-L-I for Long Island.com, live to lead li.com. And then you can register right there, find out information. You can always reach out to me. There's contact forms on that website. People can call me at my office number, 631-770-7705. Should be an easy enough number to remember. I got lots of sevens in there. I looked at the number, like, that looks good. So I took it. 770-7705. Or you can go to the beauchampteam.com website. That's my business website. But either one leads you to me. There's information on both of them. They both link to each other. Check it out. There's a video on there, a video recap from last year. You can see what the event looks like. And you can register right there, or you can call me or email me, and I will hook you up with sponsorships, tables, tickets, whatever you need.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
Great. Me too.
Thanks for coming on, Joe. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you.